From the California dam failure caused by overloading after intense flood rains, to the rare footage capturing the exact moment the 95-year-old dam collapsed under its own weight, along with the disaster in Brazil that occurred with almost no warning signs. Here are 10 major dam failures caught on camera. Edenville, Michigan is a small riverside town along the Tittafawassee River. About 1.7 kilometers north of the town lies the Edenville Dam, which once held back the Tittafawassee and Tobacco rivers to form Lake Wixom. Gradually, a fortunate resident witnessed and recorded the moment the dam burst for the first time. You can clearly see water starting to overflow the dam and rising rapidly. Perhaps just by seeing this scene, the camera person realized that the dam was beginning to collapse. Finally, the pressure exceeded the limit, causing the spillway to slide forward and release the entire volume of trapped water. A 502-page report from the independent investigative team concluded that the cause of the incident and the resulting damage stemmed from an inadequate initial design coupled with decades of poor management. If those in charge had acted sooner, they could have prevented the dam disaster. Essentially, the builders of this nearly 100-year-old dam overlooked critical steps as far back as the 1920s. 9. Brazil. This is a city in southeastern Brazil with a population of over 40,000. Home to the Carrego do Feijão iron mine dam and the site of one of the most catastrophic dam failures in history. However, unlike conventional water-retaining dams, the Brumadinho Dam stored mining waste, toxic sludge from mining operations. On January 25, 2019, the Brumadinho Dam collapsed unexpectedly without warning. A devastating landslide crashed down onto the mining area while workers were on their lunch break, then spread several kilometers through the forest before reaching the Parapepa River. The footage from fixed cameras captured this extremely severe disaster. This was not just an ordinary landslide, the entire area was essentially a collapsing waste reservoir. The ruptured earthen wall triggered a violent landslide, sweeping away everything in its path. The torrent of red mud surged down from above and flooded toward the mining area. You could see the churning mud wall engulfing the surroundings as panicked workers fled in terror. This dam is owned and operated by VO Corporation, the world's largest iron and nickel producer. The same company was also responsible for another horrific disaster in Mariana, Brazil, 4 years ago. The collapse of the Brumadinho Dam killed 270 people, most of whom were VO company employees on their lunch break when the tragedy occurred. Elias Nunes, a fortunate survivor, recounted his deeply tragic story to the BBC. The Land of the Gods. This name originates from the countless Hindu temples scattered throughout the region. It is also a Himalayan state, meaning the lives of its people are deeply influenced by these majestic mountains. In February 2021, an ice dam in the high mountains suddenly burst, releasing a massive flood of water and debris that directly impacted workers at a downstream hydropower plant. Many videos recorded that day revealed the terrifying power of the mountains. Those scenes looked like rolling clouds surging through the valley, but in reality, they were just dust and debris swept up by the raging floodwaters. The icy torrent violently tore through the valley, causing a catastrophic flood downstream. Perhaps the most terrifying thing was the eerie, gurgling sound of flowing water. Moments later, the current surged toward the valley's dam and swiftly shattered the reinforced concrete barrier. Many people debate the cause of the landslide that led to the dam failure. Some attribute it to climate change, while others insist it was the result of a series of consecutive natural disasters. A study published in June confirmed that the incident and subsequent flood were caused by a large-scale rock and ice avalanche. According to expert estimates, this rock avalanche involved approximately 27 million cubic meters of rock and ice. When this mass collapsed, the melting ice triggered a severe and massive flood. Many grand projects sound impressive in theory, but in the end, they never come to fruition. The Auburn Dam in the city of Auburn, California, is one such structure. It was built to control flooding on the American River. The idea to build Auburn Dam officially emerged in 1950, but it took another 18 years before construction finally began. Construction begins on a $126 billion diversion tunnel to channel the American River through the mountainside. However, everything was interrupted in 1975 when a strong 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck the Sierra Nevada region, about 80 kilometers north of the Auburn Dam. The engineers and geologists are concerned that the dam they are constructing may not withstand a similar earthquake, so they have temporarily halted the project until a feasible solution is found. By 1979, the workers had completed the foundation in a temporary dam built from a mixture of clay, sand, and soil. It seemed that things were finally starting to take a positive turn. capacity in the Auburn Dam. Officials, fearing a potential disaster, proactively released water from downstream dams, but this very action triggered the predicted catastrophe. When excess water spills over the dam, the surrounding soil will quickly erode. Although the dam was designed to withstand erosion, this process occurs much faster than initially anticipated. Right after the dam overflowed for the first time, erosion caused a portion of the land to collapse into the reservoir, doubling the water discharge rate. At 2:30 p.m. on February 18, nearly half of the dam had collapsed. Thanks to the quick thinking of the officials who promptly lowered the downstream dam's water level, a greater disaster was averted, allowing the structure to safely withstand the danger. The collapse has reignited concerns about proper dam construction. However, as of 2022, the Auburn Dam remains just a multi-billion-dollar project that may never be completed. Jamaica is a small town in Hungary with around 35,000 residents, nestled in the hills of the Poconé mountain range. This place witnessed a severe toxic sludge dam disaster in October 2010. This dam holds back a sea of calcite red mud, also known as red sludge, a byproduct of processing calcite ore into aluminum oxide. On October 4, 2010, a section of the dam in the northwest broke, releasing approximately 1 million cubic meters of red mud into nearby towns and fields. The red sludge is a mixture of toxic chemicals and, according to some experts, may contain radioactive substances. Footage recorded after the dam breach clearly shows the entire scene. The work, as clear and vivid as Acub's paintings, is the result when unexpected crimson rain pours down, engulfing the small town in astonishment. Keep working tirelessly to clean the toxic dust off the streets. But dust is everywhere, clinging to staircases and even coating the dogs. Approximately 90 people were hospitalized due to chemical burns, while the floods claimed 10 lives in the area. The following day, authorities ordered the factory to temporarily halt production and address the dam issue. By Wednesday, the company's chairman announced plans to resume operations by the weekend. As a result, the factory officially reopened on Friday. The factory director and 14 other employees were acquitted in 2016 of negligence charges, sparking outrage in the local community. Leshan is a prefecture-level city located in Sichuan, China, bordered by the Dadu and Min rivers. With a population of over 3 million, the city is roughly comparable in size between Chicago and Los Angeles. Leshan is also renowned for its giant Buddha statue carved into the cliff face in the 8th century, depicting the majestic seated figure of the Buddha. However, mountains in China are highly prone to landslides during heavy rainfall, which also triggers flooding. This situation has grown increasingly severe in recent years. In July 2019, road workers had to flee for their lives when a massive landslide from the mountain came crashing down, destroying the dam below. Even so, there was no way to stop the trees and large boulders from breaking the dam. One worker ran as fast as he could, while the other quickly jumped out of the truck to witness the disaster unfolding. Perhaps they thought they would be safe and could leisurely take in the scene, instead of having to hastily flee. The 2020 flood situation grew increasingly severe, forcing the Sichuan Provincial Rescue Team to urgently save the giant Buddha statue as rising waters reached its feet. This 1,200-year-old Buddha statue has never been submerged in water this high since 1949. 4. Say Sanbun Province is a new administrative unit of Laos, officially established in December 2013. Before the province was established, this area was a focal point of conflict as the military attempted to exploit the indigenous Hmong people to seize resources. Since its establishment, the government and local people have always had a tense relationship. The situation worsened further on September 11, 2017, when the Banqiao Dam broke due to prolonged heavy rainfall. The floodwaters inundated the fields, covering them in a thick layer of mud and completely destroying the crops the farmers had just planted. From the high cliff, a group of people witnessed firsthand the terrifying power of the water that day. It can be guessed that the dam broke just minutes before the dirty water surged down the river, ultimately causing flooding at the construction site. The excavator tried to reverse to escape the dangerous situation, while the other two drivers continuously honked their horns in warning. But all efforts were in vain as the raging waters swept the car away, forcing them to wait until the flood receded completely. 2 years since the dam collapse, 60 affected families have yet to receive any compensation. 3. In Brazil, this company was also responsible for another catastrophic dam collapse at the Mariana Mining Reservoir in Brazil on November 5, 2015. The dam at the Hoang Sat mining site collapsed, releasing 43.7 million cubic meters of toxic sludge. This sludge spill polluted the Dose River, traveling 684 kilometers through multiple tributaries before finally reaching the Atlantic Ocean 17 days after the dam collapse. By then, the damage was inevitable. The riverside towns along the Dose River faced a humanitarian crisis as their domestic water supply was contaminated. The downstream areas of Bento Roritu and Barakatu de Pachio suffered the heaviest damage, with 19 lives lost in the flood. Unfortunately, Bento is only accessible by land, and when these roads are flooded with mud and waste, fire trucks cannot enter to carry out rescue operations. The hydroelectric dam is owned by Samaco, while Samaco itself is primarily owned by Vale and PHP Bulletin, a mining company from Australia. The following year, the government accused 21 Samaco executives of deforestation and causing severe environmental damage. Then, things got worse when a leaked report from 2013 revealed structural flaws in the dam. 2. The city of Shadova in Uzbekistan is located on the left bank of the Shaidaria River and is home to over 860,000 people. The Shaidaria River is 2,254 kilometers long, originating from the Kyrgyzstan mountain range and flowing into the Oro Sea. The Shadova Dam can hold approximately 922 million cubic meters of water, serving irrigation for surrounding fields and cotton plantations. However, when the dam broke on May 1, 2020, the entire flood of water submerged the fields, causing severe damage that extended all the way to the northern border of Kazakhstan. The camera zooms in on the broken section of the Shadova Dam, revealing torrents of water gushing out, flooding the fields in a deluge. Rescuers waded through floodwaters to inspect a collapsed house after the flood. The other images further reveal the horrifying scale of destruction. Most houses are mangled and shattered, as if on the verge of collapse. After 5 days of heavy rain, a dam wall broke, flooding nearby cotton fields. To minimize damage, the authorities opened a water channel into the Golo-Donostepki Canal, hoping the flow would reach the interconnected system of lakes and marshes. However, the water exceeded the canal's capacity, worsening the flooding situation. According to the Ministry of Finance of Uzbekistan, the cost of repairing the dam will be approximately 1.5 million trillion soams, equivalent to nearly 10 trillion dong. San Jonesbury, affectionately known as Sanjay by the locals, is a small town nestled in northern Vermont along the Bassamshit River. In 2006, this town was recognized by National Traffic as the best small town thanks to its pedestrian-friendly road system and the community's distinctive kendo martial spirit. Thomas Nowicki was taking a morning stroll when he suddenly noticed the river had risen higher than usual. He immediately started recording when he unexpectedly witnessed the fierce flood rushing in. Thomas kept filming, just as a massive river suddenly broke free of its ice, the water surging downstream and roaring beneath the bridge. It seemed too concerning, but the water kept rising relentlessly. The rising water level forced Thomas. But the massive ice block revealed the clear cause. An upstream ice dam, also known as an ice jam, had burst, releasing the entire volume of river water previously held back in a sudden surge. As the temperature gradually rises, the ice will slowly melt, allowing the water to flow out at a moderate pace. But if the temperature rises suddenly and causes the ice to melt too quickly, it could lead to a situation similar to that in Sanch.